One of the most popular coasters that debuted in 2018 was Wicker Man at Alton Towers. This is the first wooden coaster the UK has received in 20-something years. It is from GCI, Great Coasters International, and it is a family coaster to replace their log flume. However, this is an awesome family coaster. I wouldn't go expecting the most intense ride, the most powerful laterals, or the best airtime. However, if there's one thing this thing does do the best, it's theming for wooden coaster. I am confident that this is the best themed wooden roller coaster in the world. And I feel confident in saying that because really the only other ones I can think of that would be possible contenders are maybe Woden at Europa Park, maybe Invader at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, or there's probably some crazy wooden coaster in China that would be a contender. But to me, this one is the clear best. And if you have any doubts about that, look no further than the giant centerpiece of the ride, Big Bob. That is the name of the Wicker Man. Front half is a man, back half is a goat. He is made out of wicker and he is burning, not actual flames. But he's also smoking, not like a cigarette, it's like mist. And the ride actually passes through him 3 times. It is incredible. The level of detail on the centerpiece alone is amazing. It means that this ride is going to be pleasing to the eye, so even those who might not be interested in riding it can at least enjoy watching it. And that isn't the only theming during the ride because the queue is also elaborately themed. Basically, all of it is made out of wood. You see lots of markings of this Wicker Man cult, basically. Lots of their flags hanging. And then you get to the pre-show. This pre-show is pretty dark, which I mean shouldn't be too surprising. This is Alton Towers and most of their coasters have a dark theme, but essentially the story is that you are being encased in wicker and being burned alive. What a pleasant way to start off your morning. And actually it's very well done because I hadn't watched any videos about the pre-show and there's a really cool reveal in it. If you don't want to know the reveal, skip ahead a few seconds, but basically what happens is this curtain drops in the dark and this giant wicker head is revealed that they are projecting onto. And the wicker head is being burned and encased in wood. It's amazing. So as a guy who didn't know that that was there, it left my mouth hanging open the first time I watched it. So really big fan of the pre-show. Probably one of my favorite pre-shows of all time. And so you're going to board your train. These, of course, have the Millennium Flyer trains, and it's a really long train, too, which sometimes I question if it should be that long because I almost wonder if the ride would benefit from a shorter train, but if anything, that just means if you ride in the back, you're just going to get whipped around even more so. So you're going to depart the station, you actually pass through a building first, lots of mist everywhere, and you start up your lift hill. And the lift hill alone for this ride is very strange because basically it has to start off a little steeper so that it can clear the brake run passing underneath it. So as soon as it has gone over the brake run, the angle of the lift hill changes. It is now a little bit more gradual. So the resulting look is almost a bump in the ride. That being said, when you are actually going up the lift hill, you don't really feel it. You don't really notice that that angle that you're climbing up has changed. So that's something I thought was interesting. But anyway, so after you reach the top, at this point you are in a tunnel and you go down what is basically the first drop. There's kind of 2 drops on Wicker Man. Both of them are encased in a tunnel. And this is partially because of sound and also partially because it's pretty sweet. Because you're going from light to dark and then back out into the light. And nothing about this ride is super steep. You do kind of get a few steep bank angles. I believe the steepest it gets is maybe a little less than 70 degrees. But the drop itself is not very steep. It almost doesn't even feel like a drop. GCI drops typically are curved. This one is just a kind of a gradual descent. It's mainly so that it can build up speed. So from that moment on, you're kind of entering what I'm calling the beehive because this is the center of the ride where the ride is kind of going in circles a bit. It's not really circles, but if you look at it, you see how there are 3 curves gradually getting smaller as the ride is going around. So that first time, you're taking the widest one. You pass through the Wicker Man, you go back around, you kind of turn around, and then you go through the Wicker Man again. This time you are on the second smallest curve, and you're turning, and then you go through the Wicker Man one last time. Now you're on the smaller inner curve, and that takes you into the brake run. So most of this ride is made up of bank turns. So naturally, you're going to get some laterals. In between the first and second pass-throughs of the Wicker Man, you do have a flat turn, so you do get some nice lats there. So when you drop off there, and it's worth noting that this ride does use the terrain a lot, so you are actually almost on the ground, and then when you drop off, if you're in the back, you are going to get pulled over, and that is an airtime moment. Like I said, not a ton of airtime on this ride, but there is some. And each time you pass through the Wicker Man, there is lots of mist. And this is like the stupidest complaint ever, but it's worth bringing up because I doubt I'm the only one that has this problem, is I always wear sunglasses on a ride, right? Well, every time we pass through the Wicker Man and there's mist, it fogs up the glasses so I can't see what is going on. And so the first time I rode it, half the ride I could barely even see it because my glasses were fogged up. So beware of that. The two easy solutions are you either don't wear sunglasses on this ride, or I actually ended up doing this. If you still want to wear your sunglasses, when you're about to pass through the Wicker Man, just cover your eyes. And that way your hands take most of the mist, and so that way you can still see. So that way part of the ride, you're not like scrubbing away at the mist so that you can actually see out of your sunglasses. Again, like I said, it's like the stupidest complaint ever, but I thought it was worth mentioning because it was part of my experience. So that's kind of what the ride itself is like. I wouldn't go expecting the biggest or baddest GCI out there because it really isn't. What this ride really does is it fills a gap in Alton Towers' lineup. It really did a lot for the park. It's a perfect fit. It looks so good. It's eye-catching. It's gorgeous architecturally. Theming is on point. Of course, it runs smooth because it's brand new. And so I like Wicker Man a lot. It's not my favorite ride at Alton Towers. I don't think it'll be too many people's favorite there. But it is definitely worth trying out. And if you haven't been to Alton Towers in a while, definitely use this as an excuse to go back. If you're traveling from really far away, I don't know if it is necessarily worth going to Alton Towers just to do this if you're coming from like really far away. But if you've never been to Alton Towers before, there's no better time to go than now, especially that they just got this brand new wooden roller coaster. So for its final score, I'm going to give Wicker Man an 8. Like I said, not the best ride in the world. Definitely more of a family coaster. I got to do it several times and I enjoyed it. I'd say backseat is probably the best on it, but be sure to try out front if you can. Again, favorite part of this ride, honestly, is the looks. I think it is the most gorgeous thing ever. I love that centerpiece so much. It looks fantastic. I would not be opposed if more parks saw how Wicker Man was executed, look at that level of detail and say, okay, we're going to build a new wooden roller coaster and we're going to theme it as well as Wicker Man. That would be amazing. But those are just my thoughts on Wicker Man at Alton Towers. Be sure to post your thoughts down in the comment section below about what you think of this ride. And of course, stay tuned for more coaster reviews here at Coaster Studios.